Welcome to York Reacts. Now today we're going to be doing something a little special, kind of near and dear to my heart and the GTA community. A lot of people have been asking recently what animations I've done on the game and all kinds of stuff like that. So I wanted to kind of put this little video together to kind of go over some of the animations I went and did on the Grand Theft Auto game and just kind of talk about them and give some cool little insights and break down some of the stuff, you know, on the day-to-day tasks that I was doing over there and what went down. So I'm going to do my best not to kind of break any NDA that I have over there or whatnot, because man, oh man, the last video that I made is so crazy. You guys went bananas. I tried to just explain the PC kind of breakdown and how these things work, and man, everybody is just like coming out with pitchforks and flame torches. Like the PC master race that you guys are, and just kind of hitting me with all kinds of stuff in the comment sections. And you know, take this as a grain of salt, you guys. You know, I'm just an animator. I may be an ex-Rockstar dev and all these different things, right? But you got to understand that I am also just an animator, right? So there's a lot of things that are involved. This is just my opinion. You know, don't go chasing down Rockstar or saying some mean tweets towards them. This is all in good heart, good fun. I'm just trying to bring you guys some knowledge and stuff that I think of why PCs, you know, get kind of delayed and stuff. So let's break down the animations that I did on GTA 5 and let's have some fun with this. Sit back. This video is going to be a little long, maybe. We'll see. It just depends on how long this thing goes. Let's kick back and check out some of these animations, shall we? Alright, so this is my these are a bunch of different animations I've done in the game. I'm going to play through some of this stuff and we can kind of just break it down, shall we? So this first one here is kind of Franklin coming out of the store. He's just bought some herbs. And this is an animation that I worked on for a little, probably only a couple days. It doesn't take long to do an animation like this one. Now, one thing that you have to remember is that these animations have to connect with the actual walk cycle in the game. So I have a lot of different things that are involved in the animation. One thing is that there's a prop. So he's got a prop in his hand. He's got a lid. If you notice in his left hand over here, he's got a lid. So all these things kind of have to, how do I say this? The lid has to be linked to his left hand, right? And then it has to come on and then be linked and parented, they say, to the lid of the container, which is, you know, on his right hand. There's a bunch of basically constraints that are going on that I have to set up here. I had to fix his feet as he was coming down the steps because these steps were kind of unique to this area. And we didn't capture kind of a certain motion capture for that. So I had to kind of accommodate that for his feet and animate that. And then I had to make sure that he looks like he puts it in his pocket, this canister. And then you got to make sure that it disappears. See that? And then another thing I had to do right there is I need to make sure that when he ends his animation, I need to make sure that he ends his animation perfectly in the walk cycle and that pose, and that it blends really well. So sometimes you can even put it in the same pose, but it won't blend very well because of the timing of the walk. So a lot of times what I like to do as an animator is I will literally grab the walk cycle that's in game and get, you know, a first step in there or something and blend or do something that will make it look as seamless as possible, you know, for the player. And this is one of those moments where it feels really good. You can just hold forward on the stick and it will, you know, go through there and play perfectly, you know, and I love that as an animator, that that scene just plays so well. So this other scene here is Trevor. Let me just play it through so you can see what one of the animations. Now I animated the foot in the toilet, all these different things. Now I want to touch on something, okay? So a lot of these, not a lot of these specific, but certain animations you will come across as an animator, like if you're working in games specifically, is that your animation will be touched by many people. Or sometimes an animation will be given to you and it's already almost done and you just have to do a couple little things, and that's what this one was. So this Trevor animation, all I had to do was put this foot prop they had in the toilet. I had to animate it reacting to his foot. I had to clean up his foot a little bit and stuff like that. And I also had to make sure that when he ended his animation here, that he went into his like pose that he was walking into, right? So some animations you don't have to do all the stuff, you just have to do pieces of it. It just depends. This next one here is Jimmy kind of falling into the back of the scene. I know you guys kind of remember this one. Now this animation is kind of linked up to, let me turn down the audio here. I have this audio, it's kind of distracting. So after this Trevor scene, there's a scene with Michael. He comes and he's coming in here and he's coming to save Jimmy from, and you guys have probably played the game by now. Now there's an animation of him hanging there and that's doing something, and then what happens is it plays my animation after this where he falls. Once he falls into the back of the truck, he kind of lands, and then he kind of gets into his seat. And all of that is my animation of him falling down, hitting the car, picking himself up, and kind of getting himself back into position. All right, this next scene is one I did with Franklin and Tanisha. Now, this one is more a cutscene style, even though this is a character switch. In the game, I did a bunch of character switches and stuff like that. Now, in this scene, Tanisha's like breaking up with them and whatnot. Now, I animated all of the body movement, and somebody else animated the face, and someone did dialogue, right? There's all these people who did all the props in the scene. All I do is animate the body, the fingers, make sure it looks all clean, and then make sure that when she exits here, she exits really well into a walk cycle, that Franklin exits into his kind of idle. All of these things are kind of stuff you got to do as like a game animator per se to make sure that it looks clean.
So, baby, I'm just trying to tell you I care about you.
You care about yourself. I need someone real in my life. We wasted years on this bullshit and you still the same. I want a family. I need some security in my life.
Goodbye, Franklin. I've seen this scene probably like 1,000 times. When you do these animations, you end up doing them over and over. I mean, you work on them for weeks at a time, sometimes months, depending on what they are. And every phrase that the person says, every movement just kind of gets ingrained in your head. Now, this next one is kind of an Easter egg to me, I think, in the GTA thing, because it doesn't tell you to come huff this rag, but this is another animation I did with Trevor kind of huffing the rag, comes and falls. I love this one. It's so good because you don't know where you'll wake up, and a lot of times you'll wake up playing my next animation, which is this one here, Trevor waking up on the beach, kind of breaking a bottle. He looks like he just got done killing all these people. Now, on the note of this animation stuff, now, when I have to do a scene like this, I have to do a couple different things. I have to make sure that this bottle that's in his hand is kind of animated properly, his hand's holding it properly, and when he throws it, I need to make sure that it kind of gets disconnected from the hand, the parenting system, right? And that it gets triggered by effects. So a lot of times you work back and forth in games with the different programmers, whoever it is, you know, to make sure that these things get in there properly. The visual effects team, whoever's kind of hooking up these animations, you talk with them. It's a real simple process. It's done the same at pretty much every studio. It's nothing specific to Rockstar, but you have to do each one of those things to make sure it hooks up properly and all of that. A lot of times as an animator, you're not just animating, you're doing a lot of different like little magic tricks to make sure props work properly or that they're disappearing and working in the game right. So here's another one. This is just Trevor waking up. These are like character switches like I was saying. We did a whole bunch, me and the guys around me. And then this next animation here is I think in GTA Online. So I was still working there when we were doing GTA Online, and one of the animations I had to do was basically a mini game. Now, this mini game is something that you have multiple animations. Let me turn this down just a little bit. So you will have animations of basically like him starting to drill, him pulling out. So like if you look at this right here, let me just play it again. There's an intro, they call it a lot of times in games. So an intro is him pulling this kind of drill out of the backpack and putting it into place. And then once he gets it into place, the intro is like done for the animation right here. So pulls it out, looks around, puts it in, and now we're into the mini game. And now this mini game, you have multiple animations. So as an animator, you make one where they're just sitting there drilling, and you make one where it's kind of like an idle, right? You make one like this where the guy breaks and he fails what he's doing and then gets back into position. You also make one where he succeeds, where he pushes forward and drills perfectly. Some of these things, and a lot of people don't know this in games because you don't see it or you don't notice it, but it takes a ton of animations. You have an intro, you have all these different idles, basically. You have all these different things that the character's going to be doing, and then after that, you have an outro of him pulling this out and doing. A lot of times, these mini games or these animations that you'll see sometimes in the game will have 12 animations all connecting together, but when you watch it, you don't really see all that. You just kind of see one big performance, and that means it's done right, because you want the animations to blend together really well. You don't want them to pop or do anything really weird to show that the next one is playing. But this is just an example of like a different style of animation I had to do, which is like a mini game. This is another style of minigame where Trevor comes up, he's being gross as Trevor always is, and he's sniffing this teddy bear, right? And I had to create multiple idols of Trevor picking up the teddy bear, sniffing it, and putting it down, and picking up and doing this. And each one you have to make sure that the teddy bear kind of lays down perfectly on the table in the exact same spot. And that, see this? You have to put it right in the same spot, and then he has to come back. Trevor has to come back to the exact same spot, and it's just a whole bunch of recurring animations. And some of these can be really fun to do and to get to work properly and perfectly. You know, as an animator, I kind of thrive on that stuff. I like doing animations that blend together perfectly or that are difficult to do. Here's a simple one, actually, of Franklin. He comes and eats his chips, and you have to do a couple magic tricks there too. You have to basically hide the chip in the bag and then make the chip follow his hand, and then it disappears in his mouth, right? All these different things, like right here, see that? You got to make sure all that stuff just works perfectly, and that chip goes in his mouth and like goes in and then it disappears. There's all these little magic tricks you do in games to kind of make them work, and it's always fun to kind of share that with you guys, hopefully, and you dig some of that. One of the last animations here that I kind of show, there's a ton, by the way, that I did in this game. There's so many more than this. Some of them are boring, though, and I didn't feel like showing them, but when you switch to Franklin, he also goes, cleans his motorcycle. He does that all over kind of the map, and that's another one of the switches that I did. So, I hope you guys enjoyed that little breakdown of the animations I did on GTA 5. It was such a cool honor to work on that game and come full circle for me playing Vice City and all that stuff. It was such an honor. I hope you guys enjoyed the little breakdowns and seeing the different anims I worked on. You know, usually a lot of times a developer will say, oh, I worked on that game, and you're like, what did you work on? What parts exactly, right? So I wanted to share specifics and little, animations that I did. And if you are into that stuff, I did an interview with GTA 6 O'Clock, which is now called GTA 5 O'Clock. Definitely check out the link in the description below. There's a big interview with me there, and I talked about some other animations that you didn't see here. So definitely check it out if you have the time. Also, I'm going to be doing a huge giveaway in the next video, so make sure you stay tuned for that and you comment in the next video, because I'm going to be picking commenters from the next video. So if you have some time, check out some of my other stuff. I have all kinds of cool breakdowns and all that here. If you're into gaming, I'm sure there's something for you. So I appreciate all your time and support, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.